Welcome back to the show, everybody. Check out these headlines we have for you this morning here. We got the SEC, possible Gary Gensler funny business, Empower oversight in the news as well. SBF has been arrested, ladies and gentlemen. It's about damn time, but we got all the facts for you. We're going to see if you can follow the bouncing ball on this one. You're going to like it. We got Brian Brooks, ladies and gentlemen, telling us, I believe, in revealing what crypto looks like post-regulation. You're going to want every single bit of that. A legal analyst said Ripple is likely to win the SEC case. We got John Deaton on Real Vision, and we got Charles Hoskinson still talking about the rumor of a Ripple settlement or possibly otherwise. Somebody roll that beautiful intro.
Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. You can follow us on TikTok, YouTube, and Twitter for exclusive content. Right now, $879 billion market cap for crypto. It's 1.6% off this morning. Good morning, everybody. Bitcoin, 17,000, slightly over. Ethereum is $12.49 and 94 cents. And we see the market cap for Tether is $65.8 billion, ladies and gentlemen. We're watching it. Look, I don't want that to be the case with Tether. But the reality is trouble looks like trouble looks like trouble. We're going to see how this shakes out. One thing I'm absolutely certain of is that if we're going to have this, nothing but the angels, clear regulatory compliance and clarity for everybody, then I think however Tether is operating today is going to look a lot different on the other side of that. So whatever happens between where we're at now and what that looks like on the other side, we're going to watch it until it happens. XRP, 37 cents. We're off by 4.6% on the 7-day, ladies and gentlemen. Right now, Link2 is running and continuing their special after following a record-breaking weekend on the Link2 platform. Let me tell you, and I got down with it too. I bought Ripple. I bought Polysign. I bought Link2, and then I went back and bought Polysign. Don't you tell Mrs. Backup. Now, I did that. Yeah. But by the way, if you don't know it, you can go to Uphold and you can actually purchase the private equity if you're accredited from all of my sponsors here using the Uphold wallet to Link2 with your crypto if you so desire. And how about that one? That is a nice functionality. And by the way, that special is kicking back to you some pretty incredible deals. Click the link underneath the video. Find out the pricing on all these products. It is remarkable. And look at this. Uphold sold out. I know for a fact, Polysign and Ripple right now, it doesn't look like there's a lot left on that platform. I would not mess around. Link underneath the video. Right now, we see exclusive SEC Chairman Gary Gensler. Shame, shame, shame. Scrubbed a mention of a meeting with former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton and key details of a meeting with billionaire Democrat donor George Soros from the public version of his calendar. Now, why you suppose he did that? Highlighted here, Charles Gasparino says, breaking, overlooked in the discussion concerning Gary Gensler and SBF and FTX is a second earlier meeting they had in October of 2021. These meetings will likely come up during the Financial Committee hearing on the FTX implosion Tuesday when SBF is skidded to testify more from Fox Business. However, we do know that he has since declined, but I'm going to show you this. This leans into more funny business over there at the SEC camp, possibly with Gary Gensler. SEC suggests investigation initiated in response to Empower Oversight's Inspector General referral on cryptocurrency conflicts of interest. Well, now it is looking like we might see some funny business here. Very quickly, the SEC Office of Freedom of Information Act Services suggested recently that there may be an investigation in response to Empower Oversight's referral to the SEC IG regarding conflicts of interest and selective enforcement in cryptocurrency cases at the SEC. John Deaton, as we know, representing 76,000 XRP holders, myself included, a lawyer and founder of Crypto Law US, it says here, requested from the SEC all records related to Empower Oversight's referral to the SEC Inspector General, which requests a comprehensive review of the SEC ethics officials' failure to properly manage the SEC William Hinman's potential conflict of interest regarding cryptocurrency issues. In its response to Mr. Deaton Records' request, the SEC stated it is withholding all responses records under FOIA exemption that protects from disclosure records compiled from law enforcement purposes, the release of which could reasonably be expected to interfere with enforcement activities. Assuming its good faith in the accuracy of its response, the SEC implies that there is pending investigation of issues raised in Empower Oversight's referral. Are you smelling what I'm smelling, ladies and gentlemen? We hope the SEC's letter to John Deaton means that the Inspector General's office is doing its job. Americans expect federal regulators to have one interest when doing their work, the public interest, said Jason Foster, founder and president of Empower Oversight, who we're extremely grateful for, Jason. However, if the SEC is simply dodging the transparency that is required by the federal public records law by asserting a blanket exemption, then it would be an abuse of its authority. In other words, the concern here is that there is an investigation being kicked up so they don't have to continue to honor FOIA requests. That is the concern. And with the way the SEC has conducted themselves, it is a very, very serious concern. Shout out to Rob for that one. Eleanor Tarrant says this. Now I want to see if you can follow the bouncing ball with me on this one. Breaking Senator Patrick Toomey and Senator Sherrod Brown just released a statement in which they say SBF has declined to attend a hearing in front of the Senate Banking Committee in an unprecedented abdication of accountability. They say SBF's lawyers are unwilling to accept service of a subpoena. See if you can follow the bouncing ball. Sam Bankman-Fried's been arrested. Listen, it's about damn time. If it was me or you that did any of this, all of what we're saying here would be behind prison glass at a visitation center, right? It's about time we snatch his little nappy-headed ass up. I can tell you that right now. This is not good what he's done, and it is absolutely, I believe, criminal. And it's obvious. And CNBC needs to stop saying, we don't have all the facts. We got enough facts to know it's criminal, I can tell you that. From the bankruptcy filings and the person overseeing it used to do the Enron. There is no mistake, and CNBC needs to get it right. And here we see them reporting on the fact that co-founder and former CEO of bankrupt crypto trading firm FTX was arrested in the Bahamas after the U.S. attorney for the Southern District of New York shared a sealed indictment with the Bahamian government. His arrest is the first concrete move by regulators to hold individuals accountable for the multi-billion-dollar implosion of FTX last month. Sam Bankman-Fried is expected to be extradited to the United States. That's basically what you need to get from the article. I have read it. So, January Walker, a Utah politician here, says, if Ripple settles, it will be a loss for the whole world and Web3. She goes on to say, the world follows the actions of the USA, and how the government handles one of us sets precedents for how they will handle all of us. Instead of battling against each other, claiming one group is better than the other, we need to work together for the right legislation. Well, January has not been following this very closely because, for instance, there's clarity around the world and not in the United States, certainly for XRP. And to a great degree, crypto. Digital assets. It is my belief, quite the opposite of January, that the U.S. is intentionally waiting to the last minute to get the best legislation. And plus, they understand once they put their hat in the ring, it's game on. Because it is the largest economy in the world, after all, right? However, if you really want to get a look at what's going on here, there's nobody better to go to than Brian Brooks. Let's take a listen to what he says here.
Is it going to be harder to go after him because there was no regulation in place around the crypto industry and it's hard to define the assets themselves?
No, they locked his
Yeah,
ass
I
up
don't think
last
so,
night.
Sarah. I think this is one of the big misconceptions that both policymakers and the public have about the way crypto works. The fact is, if you lie to people, that's fraud. And if you take their money and they rely on your lies, that's criminal fraud. So you don't have to have a license or be regulated to be criminally responsible for doing what happened in this case. The point of regulation really isn't to go and clean up disasters like this. The point of regulation is to prevent the disasters in advance. And that's one of the reasons why I've been calling for 3 years at this point to bring crypto inside of the regulatory perimeter. You know, if you're going to lend out money, that should happen inside of a bank. If you're going to trade securities, that should happen inside of a broker-dealer. And I think the conundrum that the Senate Banking Committee will confront this week is, do we really want to keep crypto outside of regulation because somehow we think they don't deserve regulation? Or do we think the point of regulation is to protect people from this kind of a scam? And if these things had happened with bank supervisors on site, you know, Sam would never have been able to get away with this.
Wow. And I mean, you know what? I don't know if there's many people that can speak more clearly and more succinctly than Brian Brooks on something. That is for damn sure. Look, when it comes to this, I have to say, you know, first of all, he's got it, but it also feels like it reveals to me exactly where this is going. You know, no, it pains me to agree with Gary Gensler, but I agreed early on this fact, and I'm going to share it again today. I don't think it is a stretch for us to understand as a collective group that the majority of the 22,000+ crypto tokens that exist, the majority of them are projects that are absolutely operating like an unregistered security. Now, I don't believe XRP falls into that category at all. I certainly don't. And any notion I've ever had to entertain as XRP as a security is because I always think about what would the banking world and the elites, and what's the term that Gary Gensler uses when he's teaching people that are really smart to pay a lot of money for a high dollar education? Oh, central monopolists. That's what he calls them. Yeah. And then I believe he gets elected to office and then works on the behalf, like an escrow agent, for the central monopolist by suing a company that actually has real technology that works, like Ripple with XRP and the XRP ledger. But that's a conversation for another day. But the reality here is I believe what we're really seeing here is a peep into the window of what's coming. And I have said it from day one. They intend to tuck the majority of this market into the securities framework by classifying the majority of these assets as digital asset securities. Why would that be? That would simply be because the framework has existed for decades upon decades, and they know how to regulate these things. They have the structure and infrastructure for these things, right? You know, I don't see that not happening. What my hope is through the SEC versus Ripple case is that Ripple and XRP have done things the right way. They've laid out the case in the proper way that gets them through the door as they should be to serve as a bridge currency for the world and the new monetary system that is in fact coming with the onset of CBDCs and retail stablecoins, highly regulated, I would imagine. This is from Jeremy Hogan, who did in fact break down, and we did a breakdown of his video, which was fantastic. As always, go watch it if you haven't already. But if you remember, out of the 4 possible outcomes, he did give the likelihood of Ripple coming out on top with the XRP win a slightly plus 50% chance. And that's a hell of a thing right there. So we're going to watch that very closely. Now, let's talk about this very quickly. This quick clip from John Deaton. I think he lays down some real stuff we need to hear right here.
Do people really believe that in the next year that we're going to get legislation that is passed by the Senate, passed by the House, and signed by the President of the United States, where it gives clarity to the market? I'm not an optimist in that area, which means that this decision in the Ripple case could give us basically the de facto regulation.
I think that's right, spot on. I mean, I don't think we get clarity for crypto. Now, if we get anything at all, it'll be stablecoin legislation. And that's where that'll start, because they got to shore up and protect the fact that people are out here running private companies offering a digital version of the only product that the Federal Reserve has, which is $1. We'll see how that ends too. And to that end, there was a Twitter space here from Mario Nawfal, who really opened up the conversation here and had Charles Hoskinson on. Shout out to Charles. A rumor is a rumor, but pay very close attention to the wording here, ladies and gentlemen. Words mean things, as Digital Asset Investor rightfully says. Take a listen.
Shared in an AMA.
Charles, any prediction on how the impact of this XRP Ripple lawsuit is going to have?
Well, that's a little off topic, but I did make a statement. I heard from a friend of mine who's in the legal circles that there may be a settlement or decision on the summary judgment on December 15th. I think that's before the judge goes on vacation on the 17th. If not, it's likely going to get resolved Q1, but I don't have any more information than that. It's just something I shared in an AMA.
Charles.
So what's interesting about that is that if it's not settlement, is it really a deference of what word is being used here? Now, are we walking out on a limb? I don't know. But I tell you something, where are these people getting this from? You know, where are they getting this stuff from? Because it's coming from somewhere. Just like back in November, we had Maria Bartiromo suggest the same thing, and it was put and written into production underneath of them while they talked that there would be a settlement in November. And now Charles is saying he's got a friend in circle here talking about either a settlement or some kind of ruling or summary judgment. So now we're wondering, okay, Ripple's clearly said to Eleanor Terra and confirmed that there is nothing. She says, this is interesting. Decision on summary judgment, definitely different than a settlement. What say you? And then tag Spinlaw and attorney Jeremy Hogan here. I haven't seen any other responses as of yet, but I tell you, it does make you wonder, but I tell you something, in 2 days, we won't have to wonder anymore, just like back in November. And it is very much worth paying attention to. It doesn't mean it'll happen. I personally think we're going to go to distance. I'm going to hang in there with James K. Filan, and shout out to Jim for saying that we're going to March before we see a ruling, and she believes it'll be on all things. So we'll have to see how it comes out on that end. But I tell you what, head on a swivel. This is crypto. We never know. And I will catch all of you on the next one.